Hello friends, good to see you in another current affairs 75 cross 75 session. Alright, so far we have completed 55 topics. Today we will start with 56th topic. Alright, I will be completing June month current affairs by Monday. Okay, and Monday I will be giving you June month current affairs material, and by Tuesday or Wednesday I will give you June month 100 MCQs, right. I can see some new admissions today. Friends, kindly watch the video number 1. I have given some instructions, please follow the instructions. Alright, fine. 56th topic, Sagar program. So what is a Sagar program? In 2015, Prime Minister Modi, he participated in Indian Ocean Rim Association meeting, where he proposed or he coined a term which is echoing the priority of India in the Indian Ocean region. So what is that term? Which is called as Sagar, S-A-G-A-R, security and growth for all in this region. Here when I say in this region, that region refers to Indian Ocean region, security and growth for all in this region, right. It is a maritime initiative which prioritize, which shows that India keeps the Indian Ocean countries in priority. Through Sagar we are trying to convey that intention to the Indian Ocean region, right. So we are trying to deepen the economic as well as security cooperation with the countries in the Indian Ocean region, right. To reflect our intention, Prime Minister Modi, he also came with that particular term called as Sagar, right. Now why this was in news? Mission Sagar. So what is Mission Sagar? So because of this COVID-19 pandemic, various Indian Ocean region countries were affected. So India from its side, it was sending several naval ships with food, drugs, medical assistance team to help the Indian Ocean countries, okay, Indian Ocean countries, that is termed as Mission Sagar, right. So I was saying about Indian Ocean Rim Association, particularly IORA. Now what is this Indian Ocean Rim Association? It was established in 1997 with it has 22 members. India is also a member of this Indian Ocean Rim Association. So why it was formed? To strengthen the cooperation among the Indian Ocean region, right, to strengthen the cooperation among the countries in the Indian Ocean region. That is the main objective, right. Annually interministerial conferences will be happening. They will be taking key decisions for deepening the economic ties as well as the security cooperation. Okay, so there is a chairperson for this IORA. So the chairperson and the vice chairperson position will be rotated among the members for every 2 years. So currently the chairperson is UAE, the vice chairperson is Bangladesh. Okay, Pakistan is not a member, India is a member. The secretariat of this Indian Ocean Rim Association is based on Mauritius. Clear? Next topic, Rule of Law Index. Rule of Law Index. So before understanding Rule of Law Index, we should know something called as World Justice Project. World Justice Project. So it is an initiative, not for profit organization. This is a not for profit organization, which is initiative of American Bar Council. American Bar Council, Americans Advocates Association. The American Bar Council's initiative is this World Justice Project, a not for profit organization. So they release a report. Which is called as Rule of Law Index. Rule of Law Index. I think in 2019 prelims this question was asked. Rule of Law Index is released by which among the below? Answer is World Justice Project. Okay. So this Rule of Law Index, some 128 countries, that will be ranked. I mean, that will be given some score between 0 to 1. If a country is having a score which is closer to 1, that means they have a greater adherence to rule of law. Okay. If a country is having a score closer to 0, that means poor adherence to rule of law. Clear? So 128 countries are ranked based on the score which they get. Right? The score is given based on the country's adherence to rule of law, how much they respect the rule of law. Based on that, ranking will be given. This World Justice Project also defines what is rule of law. According to World Justice, see, in our constitution, Article 14 deals with rule of law. You all know about it. World Justice Project, they also have their own definition of rule of law. Let us see that. So what is that? So it defines, okay, it was formed in 2009, one more point. It defines rule of law as a system of laws which delivers accountability, just laws, open government, as well as accessible and impartial dispute resolution. Right? Accountability. It says that the government as well as the private actors, they should be accountable to law. For every action, the government should be accountable to law. Right? They are defining what is rule of law. They are defining as government adherence, accountability. Right? That is one aspect. Then the laws made by the parliament, that should be clear, that should be publicized. Right? It should be applied evenly, that should protect fundamental rights, just laws. Nyayamana law, just laws, right? Then open government, that is the process by which these laws are being enacted, that should be transparent, that should be fair, that should be efficient. Then accessible and impartial dispute resolution. Justice should be delivered, timely justice should be delivered, and the justice should be delivered by some competent authority who has high ethical moral standards. Just like that, someone should not give the justice. The person who is delivering the justice should be a competent person, okay, and timely delivery of justice. So accountability, just laws, open government, accessible and impartial dispute resolution. Right? This is how World Justice Project defines rule of law. Friends, definitely in UPSC they won't ask rule of how World Justice Project defines rule of law. Like that you will not expect any question, but however these points which you can use while writing some mains answers, some ethics answers, right, some GS paper 2 answers, polity answers, in that areas you can use accountability, just laws, open government, accessible and impartial dispute resolution. The points which they have given, if you want, you can insert in your mains answers, right. So now what is the score of India? We will see. With 0.90, Denmark is topping the list. With 0.51, India has secured a 69th position. India has secured 69th position, right. So the scores are given based on the country's adherence to law. It is based on 8 factors, specifically 8 factors they have mentioned. One is constraint on government powers. The law should impose some constraint on government's arbitrary powers, absence of corruption, open government, fundamental rights, order and security, regulatory enforcement, civil justice, criminal justice. Simply, based on a country's adherence to rule of law, this World Justice Project will be giving some score. The score is between 0 to 1. A country with a score closer to 1, it means that that country is having a greater adherence to rule of law. That's all. Right, next one, Khelo India scheme. Khelo India scheme. Friends, the ultimate aim of the scheme is to revive the sports culture at grassroots level. For this purpose, annual competitions will be conducted. Annual sports competitions will be conducted, right? And from that sports competition, right talents will be identified. Right talents will be identified, and those talents will be trained. Those talents will be given 5 lakh rupees per annum for 8 years, right? 5 lakh rupees per annum will be given for 8 years. Financial assistance will be given, proper training will be given. Under the Khelo India scheme, the sports infrastructure in the country will also be developed. These are the broader objective, okay, of Khelo India scheme. Now, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, they came with one more concept called as Khelo India State Centers of Excellence. Khelo India State Centers for Excellence. Basically, the objective is to enhance India's performance in the Olympic. Right? So, what is the problem in India? In many states we have good sports infrastructure, but in many states the sports infrastructure is very poor. Mere possession of sports infrastructure is not sufficient. You should have a sports infrastructure which will meet the requirements of the Olympics infrastructure. Let us say, for example, a swimming pool should be in particular dimension, particular depth. If an Indian who is participating in that particular dimension, only then he can easily compete with other players in the Olympics. So, the infrastructure should meet the requirement of the Olympic infrastructure. So, the idea of Khelo India State Centers of Excellence is, in every state at least one such excellent sports complex will be developed. In every state at least one such excellent sports complex with state of the art infrastructure. To enhance our Olympic performance, we need Olympic level infrastructure, right? So, for that purpose, this Khelo India State Centers of Excellence has been launched, right? So, initially 8 centers has been identified. Initially 8 state-run sports complexes. Okay. So, various states, if you take Tamil Nadu is also running its own sports complex. Okay, like that various states they are running their own state complexes. Now, the point is, certain state complex are of having good infrastructure, but certain state complexes their infrastructure is poor. So, now what the Ministry of Sports has done, it has identified some 8 state run sport complexes to improve that sport complexes into centers of excellence. It will be extended to all the states, all the union territories. Such centers will be created, but now 8 centers has been identified. Government has allocated money, their infrastructure will be developed. Clear? So, this is about Khelo India scheme. Khelo India State Centers of Excellence. Right. Next one, probiotic, a term which you should know. IIT Madras was conducting some research on improving the probiotics. So, let us not go into that research. Let us understand what is probiotics. Friends, in our body we have billions and trillions of bacteria. In our body we have billions and trillions of bacteria. There are so many viruses in our body, okay, but not all the bacteria, all the viruses are bad. There are good bacteria as well as bad bacteria. That good bacteria are called as probiotic, right? You would have seen in TV news and advertisements and all, probiotic milk, probiotic yogurt, right? You would have seen supermarkets also. So, what happened, generally we consume a lot of antibiotics. We consume a lot of antibiotics which is going to kill the bacteria, microorganisms present in our body. The antibiotics will kill bad bacteria, it will also kill good bacteria, right. So much of antibiotics we are consuming on a daily basis. You take your toothpaste, there is antibiotic. Last year there was a news, last year I guess there was a news in Hindu, a research study was saying that toothpaste, your hand washes, it has antibacterial, antifungal agent called as triclosan, right. It is present, it is an antifungal, antibacterial agent which is present in your toothpaste. You consume toothpaste on a daily basis, right? That means you are consuming this antibiotic on a daily basis. When you consume antibiotics, see, let us take in your mouth itself, you have good bacteria and bad bacteria. So, many good bacteria are also killed along with the killing of bad bacteria. Okay, so what is the problem? The good bacteria are very important. It is very important for our daily functioning. For example, there is something called as gut microbe. There is something called as gut microbe. That means this you will find it in the intestine, which is very important for digestion process. Presence of gut microbes is very important for digestion process, which is also very crucial for absorbing the nutrients. You may eat, your body should absorb the nutrients. For that purpose, these good bacteria in the intestine becomes very crucial. But today, because of our lifestyle, because of our more intake of antibiotics, many good bacteria are being killed. So to compensate that, now we are able to see many probiotic products in the market. So probiotics are nothing but live microorganisms, good bacteria. So probiotic yogurt, you can buy this, you can eat this. So you can add good bacteria into your body. This will help have a healthy digestive tract, to improve your immune system. Right? Simply these are healthy, good bacteria, friendly bacteria. Alright. I have explained about gut microbes. So basically IIT Madras was conducting a research to study the performance of metabolism of gut bacteria to improve this probiotics. Okay, that is why it was in news. Global partnership on artificial intelligence. Recently a global level partnership has been made. For what purpose? For developing responsible artificial intelligence. Responsible development of artificial intelligence is the need of the hour. Alright, you are coming up with some technology. That technology should be responsible. The technology should further your rights. It should help the mankind. It should not remove humanity. So basically you should have a responsible technology. So this global partnership on artificial intelligence, which is trying to develop responsible artificial intelligence, which will protect, ensure human rights, right, etc. Some basic features of humanity should be protected by developing this artificial intelligence. It should also help in innovation, it should also help in economic growth. At the same time, AI should also help in furthering our rights. It should also, the growth should be inclusive, it should not be exclusive to one section. AI benefits should reach on to everyone. If you use AI from commercial motive, then it will be hijacked by one exclusive section. So the AI growth should be inclusive in nature, right? For this partnership, there is no separate secretariat. OECD, we all know, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. OECD, which was formed in which year? OECD was formed in 1961. I think 36 members are there, right? 36 highly developed countries. 36 highly developed countries are members of this Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, right? So briefly about OECD, 1961, right, 36 members. Kindly check this fact, I am very sure, 1961, 36 members, just check it once. Secretariat is in Paris. All these members are highly developed, highly developed countries are members. India is not a member of OECD. So this OECD secretariat, OECD office is there in Paris, right? The same secretariat will be the secretariat for this global partnership on artificial intelligence. Okay, India is also a founding member of this global partnership for artificial intelligence. Now all the member countries, they will collectively be contributing in developing the research in this artificial intelligence. Member countries, they will be sending researchers, scientists, then as collectively they will be taking efforts to improve the R&D efforts in this artificial intelligence. Okay, so members, founding members I have given here. India is also a founding member. India, USA, UK, Australia, Canada, European Union, France, Germany. Okay. Nothing more than that. Next one is World Economic Outlook. World Economic Outlook. So, this World Economic Outlook, it is a report released by International Monetary Fund, which is published twice a year. I think last class or last to last class I was bringing one report. I was saying that this report is also, I think last class, right? Enna reporting? Last class I was saying, right? Okay, I will tell you. It is a report which is released 2 times in a year, right? And this report gives you the picture of global macroeconomic development, and this global macroeconomic development, its impact in member countries. In-depth analysis will be given in this report. That report is released by World Bank. What is that report? So many clues I have given. Global Economic Prospects report, paathom illaya, right? So this is World Economic Outlook report. This report is IMF, that report is World Bank, but both are trying to analyze the economic development, both are trying to analyze the global economic developments. So this also gives a detailed analysis of the world economy, like how that World Bank report was also saying that Indian economy will contract, right? This is also saying the Indian economy will face a sharp contraction in the year 2020, but however India will bounce back in 2021 with a growth of 6%. It also says the global growth will be contracting by some minus 4.9%. Later in 2021, the global growth will bounce back. The report says for the first time all the regions they are experiencing a negative growth in 2020. When there was Great Depression 1927, right, then 2008 crisis, not every country was suffering, but this is a situation where all the country they are facing a slowdown in their growth. Briefly about IMF. So IMF was formed in 1944. Okay, so this was formed in a conference which is called as Bretton Woods Conference. So after the Second World War, some background information I would like to give. After the Second World War, of course, USA and its allies were successful. Many European countries, they were successful, but however, they lost life, they lost large amount of wealth. What happened? USA of this war, USA it made huge profit by selling in World War I and World War II. It made huge profit by selling so much of weapons. Many European countries they were surrendering their gold and they were getting more weapons from USA. So USA made so much of money, right? It controlled so much of gold. Now what happened? Now USA has so much of money, but however, so with this money USA can come up with many products, but where it can sell to sell the products, you need a market, right? So this European countries, they were losing a lot of wealth. So we need to restructure the European countries, we need to restructure the economy of European countries. So in 1944 there was a conference. In that conference, right, that conference is called as Bretton Woods Conference. In that conference, 2 institutions were born. One is IMF, another one is World Bank. That is why these 2 institutions are called as Bretton Woods twins. Bretton Woods twins. The ultimate idea of developing IMF and World Bank is to reconstruct the economy of the Europe, by and large Europe, because only then USA can sell whatever they produce. Not just that, USA also had another problem. Russia was also successful, the then USSR, right? So USSR's success it was resulting in spreading of communism. It was resulting in spreading of communism, Marxism. Okay, USA was fearing the spread of Marxism. USA was fearing the spread of Marxism. that is communism. Poverty is the breeding ground for communism, right? If it is going to be poor for a long term, then easily communism will be spreading in Europe. This communism is going to be a threat for capitalism, that is, it is going to be a threat for USA. So, USA, even keeping all those in mind, they were instrumental in developing this IMF and World Bank. Not just that, USA also came with an exclusive plan called as Marshall Plan. Marshall Plan to reconstruct the Europe's economy. For that purpose, USA was coming up with Marshall Plan, and also USA, in order to have a close defense ties between these countries, they also created NATO. Everything happened in these periods only. Security wise, they have to be together. Economy wise, they have to be together. For all these purposes, NATO, IMF, World Bank, Marshall Plan, everything was happening in the same time period. Okay, fine. This is some background, historical background. Now coming to the topic. So IMF and World Bank are called as Bretton Woods twins. India is a founding member of IMF. Okay, so don't ask me, sir, India was not independent in 1944, then how it can be a founding member? Here India refers to the British India. Okay, now mandate, some objectives. Sometimes UPSC asks these kind of questions: which among the below are the objectives of IMF? We all know the main role of IMF is to help the countries which are facing balance of payment crisis, right? I explained briefly about balance of payment, right? That is, we all know we have balance of payment is nothing but a systematic record of all the transactions which one country keeps with other countries. This is technical definition. Balance of payment is a systematic record of all the external transactions of the country. That is your import, export, FDI, FII, all the transactions, investments coming, investments going out, everything is being recorded. Okay, let me not go into that economy aspect. So simply balance of payment here, it refers to what? You import, you have to pay. For your import, you have to pay dollars. From where you will get dollars? You will get dollars only when you export. So when you export, you get dollars. When you export, you will be getting dollars. So when you import, if you are going to import, then you will be losing dollars. You have to pay dollars. So through exports only you will find more dollars coming to India, right? And another way of bringing more dollars is by bringing more investments. By bringing more investments, we can bring more dollars to India. But however, if export falls, if FDI falls, then imports becomes difficult. You take country like India, we are largely depending on imports. Our imports are more. A country like India, where imports are more than exports. So we need adequate amount of dollars at any point of time. When a country, when they don't have adequate amount of dollars, in that situation, IMF will be coming to help. It will be coming to help. So generally we all know that the important mandate of IMF is to help the country which are facing balance of payment crisis. But apart from that, there are other objectives also: to promote international monetary cooperation, expansion of growth, improving international trade, promoting exchange rate stability, to assist member countries during balance of payment crisis, right? And also take efforts to eliminate the foreign exchange restrictions. Now I have 1000 rupees, I want to convert that into dollars, I go to RBI will convert that into dollars. In this conversion, restriction should not be there. That is a concept called as currency convertibility. So what is this? I take a currency to RBI, that is, I take 1 lakh rupees to RBI. Let us say I want to go to America tour. Now I take 1 lakh rupees to RBI will convert that into dollars and I will go to tour. Here there should not be any restriction. Okay. With respect to trade, with respect to let us say we are going for a tour is also a part of trade, we can bring it under trade. Okay. With respect to trade in India, convertibility is 100%. Let us say you take $1 billion to RBI, you take 100 crores to RBI and you are asking RBI convert this into dollars. RBI asks for what purpose you want to convert. Then I say I am going to buy iPhones. Oh, you are going to buy iPhones, okay, you can convert. I give 100 crores, they give equivalent dollars, I import iPhones. If it is for trade, the convertibility is 100%. But however, I take 100 crores to RBI. RBI asks, why do you want to convert? I say, I am going to buy a piece of land in California. This is investment, right? So for investment purpose in India, the convertibility for investment purpose in India, currency convertibility is partial. There is restriction. So we have a technical term for this. In India, current account convertibility is 100%. That is, current account largely deals with trade. But in India, capital account convertibility, it is partial. Capital account deals with investment. Prelims, there can be question. In India, current account convertibility is 100%, capital account convertibility is 100%. That means only statement 1 is correct, second statement is wrong, because in India, in capital account conversion there is restriction. We are not having full convertibility in capital account. So one of the objective of this IMF is to eliminate such restrictions, right. FATF, Financial Action Task Force. Friends, I have made a video on FATF, right, third video in YouTube 200 video series. It is about FATF. You kindly go through that video, okay, so that we can cover other topics. So why FATF was in news? Why FATF that was in news? Very simple reason. FATF, for the first time, they were coming up with a report in which they were connecting money laundering and illegal wildlife trade. They were coming up with a report. That report was establishing a link between money laundering and the illegal wildlife trade. Alright, that's all, nothing more than that. About FATF, I have explained already in detail in that YouTube video. Kindly go through and watch the third video, that is the FATF video. If you have any doubt, you can ask me, I will explain in the next class. Right. World Drug Report. It is released by UNODC. World Drug Report is released by UNODC, United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. UN Office on Drugs and Crime, established in 1997. The major objective of this organization is to fight against illicit drugs and international crime. This organization, they function based on 3 international laws. What are those laws? It is guided by UN Convention Against Transnational Organized Crime. That convention is nothing but a kind of agreement or a law. UN Convention Against Transnational Organized Crime, UN Convention Against Corruption, UN Standards and Norms on Crime Prevention and Criminal Justice. You need not memorize these. Simply know World Drug Report is released by UNODC. Okay, headquarters is in Vienna. They released the latest report. So the findings of the latest report, that is important. The points can be used in your minds. From prelims perspective, simply report released by whom. Usually UPSC asks 1 or 2 questions based on this report, who is releasing this report, but 2020 prelims there was no such question. But previously if you see, every year there will be 1 or 2 questions, simply for example, rule of index released by whom, ease of doing business released by whom, World Economic Outlook report released by whom. Either direct question will be asked or some match the following questions will be asked. Okay, so let us not go so deep into these organizations. Let us try to understand what they have reflected in the report. The report, they are saying that because of this COVID pandemic that triggered a lockdown, and that resulted in loss of livelihood for so many millions of people. They were suffering because of this lockdown, because of this economic lockdown, right? So many people, they lost their job, they lost their livelihood. So in such situation, people, in order to run their daily life, they might resort to sale of or trade of drugs in an illegal way, right? So many people, they might resort to sale of illegal drugs, they might resort to trading of illegal drugs. This happened already when there was 2008 economic crisis. So many people, they lost life, they do not know what to do, so they were taking up these kind of illegal jobs. So this report is warning the countries, be careful now. Because of this economic slowdown, there is a chance of people resorting to do works like sale of illegal drugs. That is going to be detrimental for the progress of the society. So you be careful. That is what this report was saying. I hope you remember last class I was explaining about universal basic income. You try to connect these two. How universal basic income can be a game changer, can be a solution in addressing various social problems. Now these people, they in normal times when they have a job, they don't switch to some illegal jobs, but because when there is no opportunity, when there is no money in their hand, they are resorting to these kind of illegal jobs. When there is, in such situations, at least in this pandemic situations, if government is coming up with such universal basic income, some basic income, if it is guaranteed for all the people, then just imagine these kind of problems can be tackled, right? So if at all there is a question on UBA, I expect a question on mains. This mains also I am expecting, let me see. In next mains also they can ask about universal basic income as a concept, right? So some positive point if you want to add, you can link this and you can explain the universal basic income, right? Senkaku Island dispute. Friends, Senkaku Islands, okay, it is called as Diaoyu Archipelago. In Japanese it is called as Senkaku, okay. It is a group of islands. Okay, it is a group of islands, uninhabited islands. There is no one in that island. Island is empty, but this island administratively it is under the control of Japan. But however it is claimed by China, it is claimed by Taiwan also. It is located in the East China Sea. It is claimed by China, it is claimed by Taiwan, but however it is under the control of Japan. Now imagine Rameshwaram is one island, okay, it is under the control of India, but however under the direct administrative control of Tamil Nadu. Rameshwaram is an island which is directly coming under the administrative control of Tamil Nadu but belongs to India. Now imagine Tamil Nadu government is changing the name of Rameshwaram island. It is changing the name. Instead of Rameshwaram, they are saying something else, ABCD, they are XYZ, they are naming it as differently, some island. Okay. It's like that, some southern province in Japan, they changed the name of certain islands in that archipelago. They changed the name of the Senkaku Islands. Okay, so some islands name was changed. Since they changed, China and Taiwan, they were raising their opposition. China was saying it is a direct challenge, to the China's territorial sovereignty. China is saying. Taiwan also says it is again a direct challenge to China's territorial sovereignty. Okay, I hope you are able to understand. Japan, it is changing the name of one island which is administratively, which is under the control of Japan only. But however, there is no one in that island. Name has been changed, GO has been passed, government order has been passed. Now China and Taiwan, they were raising their opposition, saying that no, it is a challenge to China's territorial sovereignty. Okay, Senkaku Island. These kind of map questions UPSC will ask in the form of match the following. For example, they will give A, B, C, D, which among the below pairs are matched correctly. Okay, sorry, not A, B, C. For example, Catalonia, Senkaku, okay, then Diageo Garcia. Oh, 3 is enough, right? Catalonia, okay, what we will say Spain. Senkaku, we will say Japan. Diageo Garcia, we will say Mauritius. Now UPSC will ask which among the below pairs are correctly matched. All the pairs are correctly matched. So Catalonia is a place in Spain. So Catalonia, it's a place in Spain. They want to get separated from Spain. So issues were going on. This question was asked. So some issue was going on in Spain. Inside Spain, one region in Spain called as Catalonia, they wanted to come out of Spain. They want to become a separate country. So people were protesting, right? So in Senkaku Island, now you know what is a dispute. Okay, Diageo Garcia, in last class I was explaining what was the dispute connected with Diageo Garcia and Mauritius. Last class then I explained it, right? Diageo Garcia Mauritius issue. Yes or no? Did I explain about that? Tell me in the comment section. Okay, if it is an offline class, I can ask immediately. You, in the doubt session, you tell me. Did I explain about Diageo Garcia and Mauritius issue? Did I explain about ICJ? I hope so. I think I explained about International Criminal Court, ICC, ICJ. I think I explained, right? Remind me in the doubt session. Fine. So like that question can be asked. Senkaku, Japan. Make a note. Global Education Monitoring Report. Global Education Monitoring Report. This report is released by UNESCO. So this report measures, assesses the progress made by the member countries. The progress made by the UN member countries in achieving national and international targets with respect to education. Let us take India. India will be having a target with respect to education by this year, by 2030 we will achieve these things. That is internationally we have a target called a Sustainable Development Goal. Briefly on Sustainable Development Goals. So in the year 2015, UN, it came with 17 goals. It asked the members to achieve these 17 goals by 2030, right? In the year 2000, similarly UN came with something called as Millennium Development Goals. It asked the member countries to achieve those goals in 15 years. In 2015 they came with Sustainable Development Goals. It asked the member countries to achieve that goals in 15 years. What are those 17 goals? Here I have given all the 17 goals. Each goal will have sub goal. The fourth goal, if you see, that is dealing with education, right? That is dealing with education. So here I have given the sub goals. Under education there is many sub goals. For example, free primary and secondary education. By 2030 member countries should achieve free primary and secondary education. Equal access to quality pre-primary education, like that. Eliminate all discrimination in education. Okay, so these are some sub targets. Indian government, they also, not just Indian government, individual in their national governments, they will be also having some targets in achieving some progress in education. There is international targets, national level targets. Now this global education monitoring report, means UNESCO, what they will do in 160 countries, they are measuring the progress. They are measuring the progress of the country in achieving their national level target and international level target, where they stand. It goes and assesses the performance of 160 countries with respect to progress achieved in education sector in achieving the national international targets. So this basically keeps the country accountable for whatever they are saying with respect to education, right? So this is about, okay, recent report. 2020 report, what they were saying? They were saying that, another important point, they were saying that because of this COVID pandemic, offline classes is not possible. But we have to ensure learning continuity. We have to ensure learning continuity. So, but offline is not possible, but we have to ensure learning continuity, for which we went for certain substitutes, right? We went for certain substitutes. What kind of substitutes? We went for online learning. We went for online learning, right? But however, the report says the substitute is an imperfect substitute. In order to ensure learning continuity, we all resorted to online learning, which is an imperfect substitute. Why it is imperfect substitute? Not every children has access to internet. Not every teacher has access to quality internet. What about disabled people? What about the blinds? What about deaf and dumb? Whether online learning provides some tool to help the disabled. There are many children, they are coming to school not just for getting education but also for food, midday meal scheme. They come to school for having quality food, right? School plays a crucial role in improving the sanitation level among the adolescent girls. Free napkins, pads are given in the schools. How will you compensate all this stuff? Can online learning give everything? Right? So these were the questions which was raised by this report, right? And this report was also cautioning that there can be two problems. Exams has been cancelled. Now marks has to be given. Who is going to give the marks? The teachers, they are going to give the marks. It is under teachers' discretion, right, in giving their marks. While awarding the marks, teachers can be subjective. They can be biased. Not just that. Whenever there is such disease outbreak, whenever there is a closure of schools followed by the reopening of the schools, you will find a huge dropouts. For example, in Africa, during the Ebola epidemic, the schools, again there was lockdown, but later we witnessed a huge dropout rates. So post pandemic we can also expect an increase in dropout rates among the children, particularly among the girls in India as well, not just in India, throughout the world. So the governments, they have to take efforts to ensure, to prevent right, these kind of dropouts, and has to ensure that there should be some inclusiveness in ensuring learning continuity. It is very, very important to ensure learning continuity, but however, you are coming up with a substitute that should provide inclusiveness in the course of giving learning continuity. That should be inclusive, right? It should not be exclusive for one section. That is what this report is highlighting. Fine, next one, S-400 missile. So S-400 missile, it is a defense missile system. It is a defense, or simply we can say anti-missile. S-400 is an anti-missile. That means it will target, so this, let us say, so this missile will be having a strong radar system. There will be a strong radar system. If there is going to be some incoming missile, from anywhere, immediately it is going to trigger an anti-missile. It is going to trigger an anti-missile which will destroy the incoming missiles. Right? The anti-missile, this radar can sense, right, up to a range of 400 kilometers. Some missile which is coming towards us, right, at a distance of 400 kilometers itself, this radar can sense it. That is why we are saying it is S-400 missile. Okay, we are buying it from Russia. The deal has been signed. Deal is worth $5.2 billion. China also got this missile from Russia last year. Clear? Fine. Here I have mentioned about something called as unmanned aerial vehicles, means drone attacks, ballistic missile, cruise missile. What is the difference? We will try to understand. Before that, this S-400 will be kept under Indian Air Force. This S-400 will be kept under Indian Air Force. Now the difference between ballistic and cruise missile. Okay, first we will see cruise missile. Cruise missile, it is completely guided. It's a completely guided missile. That means from the start till the end. Now if you want to change the navigation, yes, you can change it. You can change and you can ensure that you are hitting this point. Completely navigable. Example for cruise missile, BrahMos. BrahMos is an example for cruise missile. BrahMos has a range of 290 kilometers. Now we are trying to increase it. As of now, our capacity is 290 kilometers. BrahMos is an example for cruise missile. The speed will be very high. Speed will be very high. Accuracy will be very high. Now, what is ballistic missile? Ballistic missile is guided through the gravitational force. Initial thrust, missile, initial thrust will be given. Initial thrust will be given, but it will be falling under the influence of gravity. Through initial thrust, it will go to one point. From there, it will fall back through the influence of gravity. You cannot navigate it. Once launched means launched. Accuracy will be less when compared to ballistic missile. When compared to cruise missile. Example for ballistic missile, your Agni series. Right? Agni 5, the latest one, which has a range of 5000 plus kilometers. Okay, so this S-400 radar, it can sense incoming ballistic missile, incoming cruise missile, incoming unmanned aerial vehicle, drone attack, everything it can sense, and it can trigger anti-missile and it can kill the incoming missile. Okay. In space. In space, okay. So recently our cabinet has approved one important reform, that is allowing private sector participation in the space activities. Okay, in space. Last year a similar organization was created, the NSIL, New Space India Limited. Let us see the difference between both in space as well as New Space India Limited. Listen carefully. So this in space, okay, let's take ISRO. Now what all ISRO does? It is developing rockets, okay, it is developing satellites. Now to launch this satellite we need rocket, so ISRO develops rockets. Not just that, ISRO also plays a role in commercial launches. What is commercial launch? Now let us say France comes to ISRO. France government, let us say they are developing a satellite and they will ask ISRO, can you launch my satellite, can you put it in low earth orbit or whatever, middle earth orbit or geosynchronous orbit, can you put in some orbit? I will give you money. So ISRO is providing Ola services, like Ola services, Ola transport services. ISRO is like Ola rocket service, like that. ISRO is providing rocket service. Who is the customer? The satellites from other countries are the customers. France, Germany, Sri Lanka, many countries, they will give their satellites to ISRO because ISRO is very successful, right? The error percentage is very, very less. So it gives to ISRO and they will pay money. So ISRO, what they will do? They also gain a lot of money to this commercial launch. ISRO will send ISRO's own satellite for research purposes. ISRO will develop their own rockets, PSLV or GSLV, and ISRO will also go for commercial launches. Now we are trying to bring private participation in providing similar services. We are trying to bring in private participation in providing similar services. Why not a private player? Why not a private player give such commercial launch? Why not a private player give such commercial launch? Why not a private player, he himself develop a rocket? Why ISRO alone should do? Now let us say, okay, Canada, if they want to put a satellite, if they want to put a satellite in space, why they have to go to ISRO? Let them come to private sector, let us say geo rocket service. Geo transport, geo rocket transport. Imagine, who knows? It can happen, very soon it can happen. Now Canada will give their satellite to GEO, and GEO will be going for commercial launch, and GEO will develop their own rocket. It is happening in America, it is happening. SpaceX, a company owned by Elon Musk, right? He is developing his own rocket. He is developing reusable rocket. That means the rocket will go, it will put the satellite in the orbit, and the rocket will come back. And again you can use the rocket, put some satellites in the orbit, and you can bring it back. Right? When SpaceX is doing in America, why not we allow private sectors to participate in this commercial launch, in this manufacturing of rockets, etc. So for this purpose, to facilitate this, we need a facilitator, we need a regulator. It is not that Indian private sectors cannot provide these kind of services. Indian private sector, they can provide these kind of services, but we need someone to facilitate, we need someone to regulate. For that purposes, this InSpace has been created, Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center. This will act like a facilitator as well as a regulator. It will act like a facilitator as well as a regulator. Now, what kind of facilitation this is going to do? Now, private sectors to participate, let us take railways. Now, today, in the coming classes, I will explain about privatization of railways, what is happening we will see. So, we are allowing private sector to run trains, already 2 Tejas trains are run by private players, are run by IRCTC. It is running 2 Tejas. I got one doubt, someone asked me this doubt. I asked that person to call me, but I think he forgot. What was his doubt? I think IDBI bank, majority 51% stake is with the LIC. Then but IDBI is called as private bank. Why? And 100% stakes of LIC is with government, right? And 51% stake of IDBI is with the LIC. Then why IDBI is called as private bank? See, LIC can be called as a government undertaken institution, but however LIC has so much of autonomy. When LIC invests in something, then that will be considered as a private investment only. That is a convention. RBI, for all regulatory aspect, they call IDBI as a private bank. Okay. Similarly, IRCTC is owned by railways only. Okay. Railways, we are saying completely under government. Now, railways is owning something called as IRCTC, and IRCTC is owning something called as Tejas. Then we will, in this situation, we will call the IRCTC run Tejas as private trains only. Okay, for regulatory purposes we call like that, nothing else. Fine. Coming back to our discussion, you take now Indian government has invited private participation in running 109 trains, if I am not wrong. So now what private players will do? Now let us say GUNA train, okay, GUNA G train. Okay, so I am one person who is participating. Now I want to give my train service in the route between Chennai to Bangalore. Am I going to put a separate railway track? I am going to create any separate station? No, I am going to use the railways resources only. I am going to use the railways track. I am going to use the railways station, but the train will be run by private operator. Right? So the private operators, they are going to use the railways resources. Like that, Indian private players to use the ISRO's resources, ISRO's data, ISRO's experience. Private players to use ISRO's resources, Indian space resources. This in space will act like a facilitator. This in space will act like a facilitator. Okay, GUNA rocket service. Now I want to participate in that. Now I will go to in space, and in space will help me, will guide me as a facilitator, which will also regulate me as a regulator, right? I hope you are able to understand the role of in space. Now you may ask, sir, okay sir, in space is okay, then what is this New Space India Limited, which was launched last year? New Space India Limited, see, both are coming under Department of Space. In Space or New Space India Limited is coming under Department of Space. Here the idea is, there are various technological support, okay, service support, product support is required for space activities, right? For space activities, let us say for ISRO, or we say in space, let's say geo rocket services, geo rockets, ISRO. Now these people, they are launching satellite, they are sending rockets, commercial launches, everything is happening, right? Now for ISRO, for geo rocket, we need some technological support, some service support is required. Say for example, Ola is having a taxi service. Ola is providing taxi service. Now Ola needs some support. Let us say Ola needs some GPS support, right? Ola to function smoothly, we need some support services. Okay, so ISRO is the one who is going to develop a satellite, who is going to develop a rocket, who is going to go for commercial launches. ISRO needs some technological support, service support, and that also ISRO was doing on its own, right? For developing some rockets, let us say some components, some technological support in developing PSLV, in developing GSLV, we need it, right? Right? Not everything, it is not necessary that ISRO should do. So we need some support services for space activities. That support services, earlier it was done by ISRO only, but now the idea of New Space India Limited is to bring private players to give that support services. To bring private players to give that support services, help ISRO in developing the rocket, help ISRO in developing the satellites. If you want, you also come and develop the satellite, no problem. But this will be outsourced from private players, right? For that purpose, New Space India Limited was created. Now you may ask, all right sir, but ISRO through this commercial launches is gaining money. These are very, very crucial. Why we have to allow a private player to share the role of ISRO? First of all, what is the role of ISRO? The role of ISRO should be like a role of NASA. ISRO should put all its workforce, energy, ideas, time in research, right? Why ISRO should waste time in routine activities like commercial launches, sending the satellites? ISRO should be putting its time in research like NASA. Why only ISRO should do? Space economy. Space economy is worth, today it is worth $360 billion, friends, and India's share is just 3%. There is so much of avenues for growth in space economy. It will give you so much of tremendous job opportunities. So India should seize this opportunity by bringing private sector participation. This will help ISRO to free up its resources and can use it for research purpose only. Are you clear? So this is about New Space India Limited and in space. I have given some points why there is a need for private sector in space, how ISRO gains, kindly go through. Next one is SPARK. Scheme for Promotion of Academic and Research Collaboration. Friends, it is an initiative of Ministry of Human Resource and Development to improve research ecosystem in higher educational institutions. To improve the research ecosystem in higher educational institutions by facilitating collaboration with top global institutes. So, through the SPARK scheme, Ministry of HRD will facilitate research collaborations between Indian institutes and foreign institutes. IIT Kharagpur will be implementing this program. Now, IIT Madras, they are collaborating with their counterpart in Germany, and they are doing a research that was in news. They are doing a research that was in news. What is that research? This aims to provide an alternative technology to produce greener hydrogen. The current method which is used to produce hydrogen, it releases so much of carbon dioxide. So, they want to come up with an alternative method through which they are able to produce hydrogen in a cleaner way, for which they are going to a method, they are going towards a method called as water electrolysis. What is that? So, splitting the hydrogen bonds from the water, right? From water you try to break the bond and remove the hydrogen atoms. Okay, that is the idea. The conventional method which will release large quantity of carbon dioxide, but this one is going to be very clean, highly efficient. Now you may ask, sir, all right sir, but why we have to focus on hydrogen, production of hydrogen? There is a reason. Today, from internal combustion engine, we are going towards electric vehicles, right? In internal combustion engine, how IC engine works? So, petrol or diesel will be filled in the tank and this will be burnt. That is going to give heat, and this heat is going to it will be channelized in such a way that this heat is going to move the engine pistons up and down. It will move the engine pistons up and down. Okay, it will move it up and down so that the car or any bike moves. Petrol or diesel will be burnt, produces heat. That heat is used to move the pistons of the engine. Now, highly polluting. You are burning petrol, diesel, carbon emission, highly polluting. To replace that, we are coming with electric vehicles. In electric vehicles, we are going to have a battery. From this battery, we are going to produce electricity, and this electricity will be used to run the pistons in the engine up and down so that vehicle moves forward, right? But what battery we are going to use? We are going to use lithium ion batteries. Whether India has lithium reserves? India practically has no lithium reserve. Which country has highest lithium reserve? It is China. All your phone batteries, your smartphone batteries, that is made up of lithium ions only, right? We don't have lithium reserves. So today for petrol and diesel we are depending on the Gulf countries. Now tomorrow for this battery lithium reserve we may be depending on China. It is even more dangerous. So we need an alternative. For that purpose only we are coming up with. Toyota has already, they have developed a car which can run through hydrogen fuel. Toyota, they have launched in Japan, they have already launched a hydrogen fuel run car. So how it works? So like how IC combustion engine has petrol diesel tank, there will be hydrogen tank. So in the hydrogen tank, the hydrogen fuel will be filled. Now we will be making hydrogen and oxygen to combine. The result is water. So hydrogen in the tank will be allowed to react with the oxygen, and that chemical reaction that releases water, apart from that, that releases electricity, and this electricity is used to run the pistons of the engine. So here the biggest advantage is we need not, it is again a cleaner way of running the engine, but the only problem is we need lot of hydrogen. To manufacture hydrogen, that in usual method it releases more amount of carbon dioxide. Now IIT Madras and Germany, they are collaborating and they are finding a solution for this problem by coming up with a cleaner way of producing hydrogen. Through a method called as water electrolysis. Okay. So there is an anticipation of transition that we might move towards hydrogen based economy very soon. And IIT Madras, it is also doing one more research to address this problem, right? The traditional electric vehicles, they are run through lithium ion batteries, right? Now IIT Madras is coming up with iron batteries. So instead of lithium, IIT Madras is conducting a research to use iron in the space of lithium, right, to run the electric vehicles. The IIT Madras, they have developed a prototype. They are yet to bring it into commercial exploitation. Soon they might be giving a solution. And the research paper, when I was going through that Hindu newspaper article, they were saying that this is even more efficient, it is even more safe, it is even more clean, and so much of availability of iron in India when compared to lithium reserves. So iron can be a game changer, maybe. Okay, next topic. Okay, we will do one more topic. India-China border dispute. Okay, friends, some background we will see, then I will explain what happened in the Galvan Valley. Okay, and also what happened in the Galvan Valley as well as what happened in the Pangong Tso Lake, we will discuss. But before that, some basics we should know. Indian borders with China, we are dividing that into three: western sector, middle sector, eastern sector. So western sector, that western sector includes the Jammu and Kashmir Ladakh region, that we say it is western sector. That boundary is based on Johnson Line. Johnson Line was proposed by Britishers in 1960s. Okay, according to the Johnson Line, this area Aksai-Chin, that comes under India's influence, that comes under India. However, China stated that we have never acceded to this boundary. So you know what China did? Since 1950s, slowly it was trying to occupy this Aksai-Chin area, and in 1962 war it gave a full stop to the slow accession, and they controlled this Aksai-Chin area. They controlled the Aksai-Chin area. And what is the boundary? The boundary dispute still continues. Here we have Indian armed forces, this side we are having Chinese armed forces. This line we are calling it as line of actual control. But there is no clarity on the boundary. High level talks, even till today it is going on to settle the boundary dispute. Middle sector, okay, that includes which region? Himachal Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, this region. In this region alone, the problems are relatively less. Both the sides, to some extent, they are okay with the boundary claims. Now coming to the eastern sector, that is defined based on McMahon Line. McMahon Line in 1913-14, China, India, Tibet, all these three players, they agreed, they signed to this McMahon Line boundary. However, China later they are saying that who is Tibet to sign? Tibet is a part of China. Who gave the rights to Tibet to come and participate? See, originally they also signed it, but however, later on they are saying that no, Tibet has no powers to sign, so we will not accept McMahon Line. And China, they are claiming this entire Arunachal Pradesh. They are claiming this entire Arunachal Pradesh as southern Tibet. They are claiming entire Arunachal Pradesh as southern Tibet. China will always do some comedies. If Indian Prime Minister, Indian President, if they are going to Arunachal Pradesh, then China will be saying, let's say how when Japan changed the name of its controlled island, how China is saying this is a threat, direct challenge to the territorial sovereignty of China. Like that, the Indian Prime Minister, when they go to Arunachal Pradesh border and all, China will say, right, you should not come to this place, this belongs to China. But administratively, Arunachal Pradesh is under the control of India. I also remember one funny incident happened in one batch. See, you all know, after you clearing the exam, you will be going to Labasna, 100 days foundation course, followed by that there will be phase 1, phase 2 training if you are getting into IAS. One batch, I do not remember the year, in the phase 1, phase 2 training you will be sent to abroad. Okay, some 10 days you will be sent to abroad. One batch was sent to abroad, I guess. So, assume that roughly some 50 officers were sent to China, right. For 49 officers a visa was given, for one officer visa was not given. When asked China, why you are not giving visa for this person, China says, he is my citizen, why I have to give visa, he is from Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, like this China will do such comedies. Fine, let us not go into that. But the point is they are claiming entire Arunachal Pradesh. That is what is important. These are some basic boundary issues I have given there. Now let us see what happened in the month of June. Pangong Tso Lake. Pangong Tso Lake, it is near the Leh Ladakh region. In the map I have given here Pangong Tso Lake. Okay, world's highest saltwater lake. Almost it extends to 160 kilometers. 1/3 of the lake, if this is going to be the lake, 1/3 of the lake is with India, the remaining 2/3 of the lake is with China. The line of actual control, it passes through that lake. Okay. So what happened? What happened? Usually in that Pangong Tso Lake region, there will be issues. It is very, very common. Friends, let us assume this is the lake. Okay, it extends, it goes on, as it goes on, the lake goes on. Both the sides are mountains. Okay. Now, see, the mountain, there will be a protruding part, right? The mountain, it will be protruding towards the lake, right? Just imagine, mountain, it is protruding towards the lake. These points are called as finger points. These points are called as finger points. F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, F6, F7, F8. So here is where the line of actual control passes. It is controlled by China. It goes on, the lake goes on. This side is controlled by India. Okay. In this F4 region, we have a base, we have a military camp, assume. Generally, Indian soldiers, they will be routing till every day, they will go till F8, they will come back, they will go till F8, they will come back. But one fine day, you know what happened? China, they crossed their LAC and they started claiming till F3. They started claiming till F3. So, one side Chinese players, they are standing, another side Indians, they are standing, they both were attacking. Traditionally, India controls till F8, here is where LAC follows. But however, China, they always cross, they try to capture some more area. Right. So, they come and there was clash. In that clash, you know what happens here, the interesting point is in 1993 a peace treaty was signed between India and China. Whenever there is such face-offs, standoffs happens between Indian soldiers and Chinese soldiers in the borders, they should not use weapons, they should not use gun to resolve the problem. So, you know what they will do, they will be throwing stones, they will be throwing stones, sticks, verbal abuses through which they will try to attack each other, right. this was happening. This is usual. This attack in the Pangong Tso Lake region, every time it happens. Recently in June month also it happened. What was new? What was new is the attack in the Galvan Valley. Right, Galvan Valley, look at the map. So here is where the Pangong Tso Lake. Galvan Valley is somewhere here. Okay, from this region. Both are in Ladakh only, but Pangong Tso Lake is in different region, Galvan Valley is in different region. Okay, let me explain what happened in the Galvan Valley. Friends, there is one river called as Shyok River in Indian side, Shyok River in the Indian side. There is another river, this is Galvan River. Galvan River. Okay, here is where LAC passes, line of actual control. That means this entire area is with China. Okay, now this region is with India. Both the sides of the this Galvan River, you will have big mountains. You will have big mountains, both the sides. I am saying this valley, this river valley is simply called as Galvan Valley, Galvan River Valley. Okay, so this area, as you know, it is under the influence of India. For the past 40-45 years, no tensions in this region. But now what is the tension? Parallel to the Shyok River, Indian government is constructing a highway. Parallel to the Shyok River, Indian government is constructing a highway. That highway is called as DSDBO road. DSDBO, that is nothing but the areas which the road covers. D refers to one area, S refers to one area, and this road, it goes till the last most village in the country which touches near the Karakoram range, Shyok village, the last village, Shyok village, till the border, northern border it goes. Not just that, we are also having a branch, the road is also branching out, it is coming closer to this river, I mean this LAC. The distance, if you want to know, it is just 9 kilometers. The Shyok, this DSDBO road is just 9 kilometers away from this LAC. China for a very long time, it is warning India that not to construct this highway. Who are they to challenge our territorial sovereignty? But you should know, in early 2000s itself, we started constructing this DSDBO road. But only now it is becoming conclusive. Now it is going to be open, right? China fears now. China fears this road because it is a very big infrastructure. If at all India wants to attack China, in few hours India can mobilize big troops, tanker lorries, tanks, arms, weapons, it can bring it through this highway. And this is another road which branches close to line of actual control. So China is fearing. This is not the only fear. The biggest fear is, we have to take the map to understand. Okay, friends, here China is constructing a highway which connects China and Pakistan as a part of China-Pakistan economic corridor. A roadway and railway, it crisscrosses like this. There is one more important roadway that is going somewhere like this. Two provinces of China is being connected through that highway. Now India is developing a highway, right? It will be like this, somewhere like this. Wait, I'll draw. Okay, China, this is China CPEC road. Now this one is China is connecting these two regions. Now India is developing this DSDBO road, right? That DSDBO road, it goes somewhere like this. Imagine. So imagine here there is one China-Pakistan road. Here there is one road which connects two parts of China. Now this DSDBO road, it is going to this junction. So this is going to be a full-fledged highway. If this is ready, then huge amount of troops we can take it to this junction also. Maybe we can become a torture and we can even divide this region. There is a possibility. India will not do, but still there is a possibility, right? So fearing this, where we are, yes. Fearing this, you know what China did? China one fine day, they were warning that India don't develop DSDBO road, but China what they did? They crossed as usual. They crossed this LAC and they occupied, they came till this point. They came till, not this point, They came till this river point. And they claimed entire Galvan Valley as theirs. They crossed the line of actual control and they claimed the entire Galvan Valley as theirs. Why? The idea is, if China is able to capture these mountains, in these mountains at that height, they can install some watch towers, and from here they can watch the activities, what is happening in DSDBO road. Maybe if they are able to take some arms, weapons in that region, they can also attack the DSDBO road. So for this purpose, they want to have the strategical advantage, right? For that purpose, they crossed this line of actual control and they started claiming that the entire Galvan Valley is going to be theirs. So what will happen? Both the side, Indian soldiers in one side they are standing, Chinese soldiers on the other side they are standing. They both were fighting without the guns, using stone pelting was happening. 20 Indian soldiers were died in that process. After 40-45 years, a huge clash happened in this particular site. Pangong Lake site, often it happens, but this is something very new, right? This is about the Galvan Valley issue. Then higher level talks were happening. Even till today, higher level talks will happen. China will deploy more arms, tankers in that region. Then India will react. Then again they will go back. After higher level talks, Chinese they went back. 2 kilometers they went back after the higher level talks. But however, whether they have given their claim, what was their claim? They said that the entire Galvan Valley belongs to China. They came back 2 kilometers they came back, but whether they agreed that entire Galvan Valley is not theirs, India also has a share, whether they agreed that is not very clear. The disengagement process was not transparent, it is not very clear. China always follows a method, 2 steps forward and 1 step backward. It will come 2 steps front, it will go 1 step backward, it will show to the world community that they are backing off, but however they would have encroached some area in India. Very clear? So this is about the Galvan Valley issue. You can go through, you will understand. Right friends, I will stop here. I hope the class was useful.